Hi, welcome back to the Stained Canvas. So today I found some of my oil paints and I've tried to open them, but they are pretty much sealed shut. So some of the linseed oil escaped the cap and kind of dried there. So I'm going to show you how I am able to open these without breaking it. Your first step is obviously try to open it, right? If it doesn't work, don't keep trying to force it because what you'll end up doing is just splitting open the tube and then you're just going to have oil paint all over. So, first step, try and scrape off as much of the dried up paint as you possibly can. You won't be able to really get up inside the cover, but any kind of, like if you see right here, it's like right on the edge. I'm trying to get my fingernail in there. You can also use a palette knife. If you have a palette knife, you might be able to like scrape away with a palette knife in there. Second step, like once you've done like all of this, is try it again because perhaps just by that oil paint being there is what's sealing the cover, right? So I'm going to go through all of my paints and where I'm literally just doing exactly the same thing. So I'm just going to fast forward. And then I've tried all these. They still won't open even with me removing that goopiness. So this is just hot water, okay? As hot as my tap would go. It's not boiling, just as hot as my tap will go. And I'm going to place my tubes cap down. Now this is not going to dissolve any oil paint because oil and water don't mix. It's just, oops, I'm trying to get it so that it softens the paint that's inside the cover there, so that the paint that's inside the screw part, right? So it won't dissolve. It's not watercolor or anything like that. This is oil paint, just so we're clear. That's why we're trying to scrape away as much outside oil paint as possible so that maybe the heat of the liquid, like the water, will be able to soften that oil paint enough that it can twirl. So this guy, I'm going to put those to the side, but this guy here, I had to like it literally leaked all over the place. And it was super satisfying to peel this off, I'm going to tell you. It was a lot more liquidy than, like a lot more sticky than the other ones. So this was like a recent leakage kind of thing. But I literally had to get out my palette knife for this one. And you'll see me scraping away at it. But I just going back to the oil paints that are in the water. So if you find, like, okay, so you're just going to leave them there until the water cools down. And then you're going to try to open them again. Some of them will be able to open, so you will be done soaking those ones. But you may have to re-soak, like continue the process, re-soak. If you have a particularly stubborn one and you soaked it like 3 times and it's still not working, then I would recommend getting maybe like being very careful about it though, because you don't want to explode your paints. But getting maybe like needle, oh, see here, it just turns because I took enough of that goop off. So I was able to not even have to soak this one. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit more here. But if you have a particularly stuck cover, after soaking it several times to try and loosen up all that paint inside, then I would go in with needle nose pliers or something like that. Very carefully though. If you're using needle nose pliers and the tube itself actually starts to twirl, stop going. Keep soaking it because it ain't ready yet. And I'm going to show you, I'm cleaning up the grooves right now, and I'm going to do this with all my oil paints. I actually, once this is cleaned up, to try and prevent this from happening again, I'm going to actually use a little bit of Vaseline. So petroleum jelly, right? Vaseline, whatever. I'm going to, not putting it inside the paint, just along the grooves of where the cover goes, just to lubricate it. So if some of the oil seeps out again, this is in hopes that it will not seize up and make it stuck again. So I just take a little bit on a paper towel and I'm not going in. If you notice, I'm just on the outside of the cover, like the grooves. just putting enough in there. And then I'm going to put the cover back on and twirl it and untwirl it a couple times to be sure that the Vaseline has gotten into all the little groovy bits. So you see here, I'm just twirling and untwirling, and that's it. That's all I do. Hopefully this has helped you. I'm going to continue soaking these guys that I have in water here, but yeah, that's how I am able to use really old watercolors. Like, subscribe, and tell your friends about me.